Welcome to the fourth episode of the SuperHeroCrew podcast. In this episode, Andrew and Rob talk about some upcoming books in November from Marvel and DC, as well as discuss books that came out August 21st, 2019. All articles talked about in this video will be linked in the description. What's up, my crew members? My name is Andrew, and I'm here with Rob.
Hello.
And unfortunately, very unfortunately, there is no coach in this episode. I know everybody's upset that there is no coach.
We're going to miss the shuffling papers and the squeaky chair. It won't be the same.
Exactly.
Here, I'll try to squeak my chair. No, my chair's too quiet.
Well, I am in the chair, so we can get a little bit of squeakiness going.
It's like he's here.
Exactly. He's here in spirit.
There you go.
Welcome everybody to episode 4 of the SuperHeroCrew podcast. Man, we're really making it this far. I'm actually very surprised. We tried like 8 episode 1s and they just stopped. They just did not work each time, and it was ridiculous. But we pulled through, and we were able to do it.
Well, now you curse this one. This one's gonna fail.
Exactly. This one's gonna screw up. For some reason, it will mess up. But yeah, there's not a lot of news, but I figured we could also talk about some stuff that came out this week, because I've got some interesting stuff to say about some things that came out this week. But you guys are in for a... Well, you know what? I'm not going to spoil it, but let's just get into the news real quick. We can kind of run through these a little quick, but first things first. He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse #1 from DC Comics. Written by Tim Seeley. Artists are Dan Fraga and Richard Friend, I mean. November 20th it'll be coming out, and it will be a 6-issue miniseries. And apparently DC and Mattel are teaming up for an all-new He-Man book. And apparently He-Man is trying to save the multiverse, apparently, which is an interesting concept, I think.
Yeah, well, I guess you got to refresh it somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a He-Man fan, really, because I did not grow up with He-Man at all.
And I did grow up with He-Man, and I'm not a He-Man fan.
Yeah, well, I don't know, like, I mean, it could be interesting, I guess. If Coach was here, he would have some really good insight on He-Man. But it sounds like it would be pretty cool, because it says, now it's up to a ragtag team of surviving He-Men from across the multiverse to stem the tide. But to do so, they'll have to recruit the one man in existence that might help them win Prince Keldor, the man who would become Skeletor.
Sounds like they're trying to... I don't know if any of this is from like the official background, but I've never heard any of this before. And I assume it's new stuff they're inventing for this, which is kind of fun. Expanding the universe. They are doing a He-Man art animated show that's going to be coming out on Netflix, and it's helmed by Kevin Smith, but supposedly it's not going to be funny. It's going to be a serious take on it, kind of the continuation of the cartoon. So I wonder if that's a similar idea with this, where it's a serious take on He-Man.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hard to be serious. There's so many memes with He-Man too now, where it's just like, well, it's hard to be serious about a guy that changes from a person in a pink shirt to a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
But from the covers, it looks pretty serious. You got some shattered picture with all different He-Men, parts of different He-Men, which is kind of cool. Oh, yeah, Tim Seeley. Do you know much about him? I don't know him at all, so...
I've heard of him, and I feel like I've read something by him. I don't remember, though.
Yeah, that's what. Same me. I'm like, oh, it looks like he wrote a lot of G.I. Joe, Batman Eternal. Did you read that?
I did not. No.
He wrote the Grayson miniseries.
Okay.
That's when he was like a spy, wasn't he?
Yeah. That's I actually really liked that.
Oh, and he wrote Shatterstar. Shatterstar was fun.
And he wrote Injustice versus Masters of the Universe, which what's his face? The Roy started reading, and he kind of dropped out. Apparently, he wrote one of your books, Age of X-Men: Apocalypse and the Extracts.
Oh, well, that's not great.
Listen. Well, if that's not good, and I do like Grayson. Grayson is pretty like a fun book, So, I think he's writing Nightwing, or he was writing Nightwing during Rebirth and stuff like that, and the New 52 stuff. So, but
and he already has. It looks with the G.I. Joe background and the doing that one crossover with He-Man. That seems like he's got some background to it.
Yeah,
it could be fun. I don't think I'd ever pick it up, but
I don't know. The coach might make me pick it up.
Yeah, and if you guys say it's good, I might check it out. In the it'll be 6 issues, so it'll be a nice trade.
Yeah, but you know what though? It's a number 1. That means we have to get it.
You guys are in trouble if you have to pick up every number 1. There's a lot of those.
No, not us guys. It's not us. It's me. It's me.
It's the collective you.
It's all me. It hurts me. But
yeah. So that'll be fun. But at least it's only 6 issues. You got that to look forward to.
Yeah.
I would be surprised though if it spun off into its own like series with the one and only He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it looks interesting. I know there's tons of, like you say, there's tons of people who grew up in that age, and nostalgia is big. They just had PowerCon this last weekend, which was in LA, I think. It's a He-Man convention. So it's serious business, and I'm sure DC knows how to hook into that. So get some cash.
Yeah,
for the collectors. That's how what is it? IDW stays afloat, really. So I'm amazed it's not an IDW comic.
Yeah. Well, I would assume that DC then has the He-Man license.
Yeah, they must. Yeah, strange.
But then it says DC and Mattel team up. So I don't know. Maybe Mattel was like, "Hey, let's do a book."
Yeah, because Mattel
do a book for us.
Mattel was the original company that owned it. I'm amazed Mattel's still around, frankly. Hasbro hasn't bought them up. So that's what it is. The IDW is all Hasbro stuff, so Mattel must be still separate. Mattel's got Hot Wheels. That's how they stay afloat. Hot Wheels and what else? Fisher-Price. There you go. Oh, and Barbie. There you go.
Yeah. My friend Chris is he's an avid Hot Wheels collector.
Oh, that's another one. There's a lot of business in people collecting Hot Wheels and restoring old Hot Wheels and stuff.
Yeah.
Our friend Jack, he watches videos on YouTube about people restoring Hot Wheels.
And does he collect Hot Wheels?
No, not at all.
So he just watches videos.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I can see it.
I guess.
So it's a nostalgia thing. It's one of those rebooting nostalgia books to be popular nowadays. They did it with Voltron. They've done it with, I think, G.I. Joe's going to get a new reboot soon. They did Transformers multiple times, so I could see why. I'm waiting for the Silverhawks reboot. That'll be all on board.
Who?
You never heard of the Silverhawks?
No.
This is why they'll never be popular. They're like cyborgs who had like all bird themes. And they're kind of very similar to Thundercats. I think they might have been in the same universe as Thundercats. So, fun stuff.
I'm looking at it now. It looks...
All the toys are all chrome. It was great.
Very, very interesting.
Yes. Or, Tiger Sharks. That was another one. It seemed like a lot of animal-themed superheroes back in the 80s. But yes.
IDW even brought back GoBots.
Yeah. Well, GoBot, it's funny, Transformers, Hasbro bought out GoBots, and they kind of incorporated them into Transformers, so GoBots became official Transformers at some point in the line, which is crazy. That's just crazy talk. But yeah, nostalgia sells, and all these companies are always on it. Marvel kind of does it with Star Wars, but that's not as much nostalgia. They don't really have anything like this on their end. They have a lot of stuff, but no real licenses. I think Star Wars is the only license. It's not really a license because it's all the same company now.
Mm-hmm.
No toy licenses at Marvel.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what IDW and Boom kind of does more. I think more movies and stuff. But yeah, IDW is definitely the toy one, and DC has this. They don't really have it. This is Master Universe seems to be the only one that they have for the toy lines.
I'm
trying to think of if there's anything else. Oh, and then Titan has Robotech and Blade Runner now, so they got those guys covered. Nostalgia, it sells.
Yeah.
What are you nostalgic for? Do you have any nostalgia? You're too young to have nostalgia yet, I think. You have to wait till you're old and wrinkled, and you're like, God, I wish I was still 18.
I don't really have nostalgia for anything.
Yeah, it's too young.
Except like my old Lego, but that's really it.
Yeah, Lego. It's the thing with Lego is you don't even have to be nostalgic because it still comes out every year. You always get more.
Yeah, unfortunately.
For a collector.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. Actually, this is kind of funny. My boy Kenny came over yesterday. We hung out yesterday, and we popped in Dragon Ball Z Budokai on the PS2, and that was nostalgic as all hell because once the beginning intro comes on and it's the beginning theme song, oh my god, I was like, I haven't heard that in years.
Yeah, it gets worse as you get older.
Yeah,
it's yeah. I wonder. Yeah, I don't know when it started for me. Probably after university, you start going, I wish I was a kid again. When real life starts, it sucks. Well, you have that to look forward to.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
There you go.
And that's why we do this stuff, to feel like we're still young.
That's right. Yeah. Then you can hope for DC make a Dragon Ball Z comic. Well, I'm sure Dragon Ball Z is probably still going in manga form. So
yeah,
3,000 issues or whatever it is.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know. I can't. The only manga I have or manga, whatever you want to call it, is Attack on Titan. But that's it.
Right. Nice.
But anyway. We're getting slightly off topic here.
Yes.
But anyway, He-Man. Coach is going to want to get this, obviously. So that means I got to buy it. But, yeah. So He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse. Now, next, I can actually kind of give my input on is Punisher Soviet #1, written by Garth Ennis and art by Jason Burrow, also coming out in November. And apparently someone is killing people in the Russian mob before Frank can get to them. And that's like the whole thing, and Frank's got to figure out who it is. And I'm not sure if it's going to be a series or a one-shot. Like, I don't know if it'll be a mini-series or a one-shot. Most likely it's a one-shot.
Usually they tell you if it's a mini-series, right?
Yeah, it's most likely a one-shot just because of those 80th anniversary one-shots that are coming out, or that have come out, like the Hulk one and the Wolverine one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That makes sense. Just a little fun with. I don't think Garth Ennis would also write a full series. Oh, it is. It's 6-issue limited series. It says right there. 6 issues.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Where's that? Where does it say that?
It's in the subtitle. I just noticed it myself. Frank Castle goes after the Russian mob in the 6-issue limited series. Well, there you go. 6 issues.
There we go. It's funny. That was the one thing I did not read.
I know. I just noticed it now.
Is the subtitle. I read everything else to see whether or not it was a one-shot or a mini-series.
I know. Usually they tell you, like, coming this November,
Yeah.
Marvel is like DC does that. Marvel is really bad. We never know if it's a one-shot or not. We've done this many times. Like, even Marvel 1000, we were trying to figure out if it was a one-shot, or we did figure out it's actually 2 issues, so there you go.
Now, the weird thing is that this is coming out in November. Okay, we just started a Punisher miniseries this month, and it's still going to be going on when this comes out.
You can never have too many, I guess.
But it's 2 Punisher miniseries.
That's odd. You'd think they'd just wait for one to end and just start the new one.
Yeah, it's very weird. That one is Punisher Kill Crew, and I did a review on that, and it was very... It wasn't like a serious Punisher story. It's very silly, you know?
I have a feeling this is going to be much more serious.
Oh, yeah, and I hope so. You know, but anything Punisher, I gotta get. Because I love the Punisher book that's going on right now, the Normals, the series, is very good. It's very good.
And Jason Burrows, I know him from, the name sparked a memory. It's because he used to draw the Alan Moore Lovecraft kind of books back in the day. Mm-hmm. And they were always, well, they're crazy, and they're very graphic. And I can see him. There's usually a lot of blood and guts, so I could see this maybe. It doesn't have mature though on it. Maybe they'll tone it down a bit, but I have a feeling you're still going to get some mafia people, Soviet mafia guys dying horribly at the hands of the Punisher. So he's a very good artist. So really detailed and good storytelling. So it should be, at least the art will be great. And Garth Ennis obviously is He is a classic writer. I don't know what he's done lately other than war comics. He's kind of been just doing war comics because that's what he likes to do. So, should be interesting.
Yeah. But this sounds pretty interesting, you know, and it's not like anything silly, and I'm surprised that I always wonder, what comes to mind when they come out with, like, different books, you know? Like, that was my whole thing with War of the Realms. It's like, you know, you have all these tie-ins. It's like Giant Man as a tie-in, you know, or Agents of Atlas. Like, of all things, like, those two, what went through their heads to say, you know what, let's do a tie-in to War of the Realms 3-issue miniseries, and it's Giant Man, you know? Like, why not make this, like, try to incorporate this into the, you know, the main Punisher book or something like that, you know what I mean? Or even wait until Punisher Kill Crew's over.
Yeah, it should be an arc in the regular comic book, probably.
Yeah.
Unless maybe it's not in continuity. Maybe it's just, hey, Garth Ennis had this story, and he might have written it a while ago, too. You never know. That they just had it, and they're sitting on it, and they're like, okay, let's put it out. Mm-hmm. So... it just seems an odd timing for it. Especially, it must be this that Garth Ennis said, hey, I want to write this. And they're like, he's got name recognition, especially now with The Boys and all that happening. Or no, that was Garth Ennis, right? Yeah, it was.
I believe so.
Yeah, because he did Preacher too. So all that hype, so that Marvel's like, hey, we can use that name recognition to throw out a book. And like I say, Punisher miniseries, I think that's the way to go with the Punisher. I wouldn't read an actual ongoing with him. But a little quick miniseries of just some, like, he's had quite a few good miniseries in his time, so.
Yeah.
Ignore my phone going off.
Jeez.
There you go.
Well, we don't. I guess we don't need Coach squeaking now.
No, I got my phone right next to the mic.
Exactly.
So that's it. Anyway. That's Punisher.
That's Punisher, and I gotta say though, the Punisher book that is going on right now, it's very good. The ongoing book, it's really good. You know, it's the only issue I had with it is that it was like the aftermath of Secret Empire, and it focused heavily off of that, where like Punisher was tricked into doing the dirty work for Hydra, which he thought was S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever. So now he's mad, so he's going after Hydra and like after Baron Zemo and stuff. And then Baron Zemo fled to New York and is like hiding with the Kingpin. But yeah, the Punisher series that's going on right now, it's pretty good. And either he's gonna team up with Night Thrasher, Moon Knight, Black Widow, and Ghost Rider to go after Kingpin.
That's an eclectic group.
Yeah, especially Night Thrasher. I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah. That's once again, that must be the writer. He's probably grew up reading what was that comic they were in? All the young guys with Speedball and all those people.
The New Warriors.
New Warriors. So he grew up reading that and was like, I want to put Night Thrasher in a book. Because there's no other reason to have Night Thrasher in a book.
Yeah. Oh, Night Thrasher. I mean, he's kind of cool, right? I guess.
Didn't he used to be on a skateboard? Was that him?
Was he? I don't remember.
I think so. When they first started, he was on a skateboard.
Oh.
Before they grew up a bit, I guess.
Poor Night Thrasher.
And Speedball. And Speedball was in the Old Man Logan a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah?
Old Man Speedball was in it, and he exploded, killed a lot of people. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Now we just need Namorita, and who else was on that team? I don't remember. That's the only 3 I remember because they're this ridiculous.
But anyway, Punisher, so be it. I'm looking forward to this. I thought it would be a one-shot, and I was kind of nervous that, remember we talked about this, how if they do a one-shot, they might not be able to fit the whole story into the one-shot, and it might feel rushed. But I don't think that it'll be like that, because if it's 6 issues, there's a specific story that they have planned out, that Garth planned out and stuff like that, so...
Yeah, I think that'll be... Yeah, once again, that'll be... He's written a lot of good Punisher stories in his day, so...
Yeah.
I'm sure it's just... It's one of those things where he probably was like, woke up with a Punisher story in his head, and he's like, oh, well, I'll write it down. And Marvel's like, thank you.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's pretty much the news for this week. Kind of, pretty much.
Yeah, a bit of a slow week.
Yeah, but not comic-wise. I did get it. There are a bunch of books that came out, for me at least. Oh, excuse me, I just burped. For me at least, there's not a lot of stuff that came out. There is a lot of stuff that came out this week. And one of which is Hellboy and the BPRD Saturn Returns. Now, Rob, you read that?
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know what's going on.
The thing for me was, did it ever say what year it was? It kept on flashing back to different years, but I get the feeling it's in the 80s somewhere.
75 is when it took place.
Is that when it took place? 75? Yeah.
That's yeah. It's the beginning thing is in New Hampshire, October 1975.
Well, that means by the end of BPRD, it takes place I think in our time. Then Liz is pretty old. I expected her to be younger than that, but I can't get it. She'd be in her 50s, I guess. Yeah, it's like a murder mystery. It reminds me of like Twin Peaks or I don't know. Something weird is going on, and they can't figure out what's going on. There's a lot of characters that I was like, am I supposed to know who these people are? And I didn't. Other than like even Professor Broom looked different because he wasn't gray yet, but he was still as graying on the sides. He looked like Reed Richards. I was like, who's that? Oh, it's Professor Broom. So there's a lot of characters I was just like, I don't know who these people are. But it's interesting. It's like a little murder mystery. I think it's only 3 issues, so it'll be fun to wrap it up. And I like, yeah.
It's 3 issues, and now quick question: did really you don't have to, you don't really have to like know that or read that much Hellboy stuff to know what's going on, because we read the Hellboy and the BPRD 19 whatever that was, and we stopped halfway through because we were like, I have no idea what's going on. Hellboy's barely in it, and it's like it's something, or I think that like took place during the Hellboy in Mexico.
Yeah, some of them some kind of connect to his history, but this one is a time it doesn't really connect to any history, so it is kind of in between. A lot of the 50s ones all connect. It was one overarching story about the radioactive glass or whatever that was causing monsters, and it kind of went through all the miniseries. But this one seems to be all separate. So far it's just been like, yeah, jump in. You'll know as much as anybody, which is not much. It literally is a mystery, and everybody keeps saying, "Oh, I think it's this. I think it's this," and we don't really know what's going on yet. And none of the characters do either. So we're kind of in it with them.
Yeah. And now the thing with Liz, like she was in this. What happened? It was like.
Yeah, she's in the BRPD base kind of. I think this is taking place just after they first collected her, kind of.
Okay.
So she just killed her family. She exploded and burned a whole city block, kind of. And she's really fragile, and she wants Hellboy, but Hellboy's off on his own on this other adventure. So and then she kind of escapes. So it's kind of like the B story is her kind of gone off. And is she going to explode and murder a bunch of people by mistake again?
Yeah. Now
I don't know if that B story is necessary. I guess if you're a Liz fan, it kind of fills in some background, but I don't really care that much about her, so I'm there for the Hellboy.
Yeah. And now it's called Saturn Returns. Now, I thought that Saturn was like a character and they were returning, that's what I thought it was. Like Saturn was a character that I didn't know existed or something, and they're, coming back. But I don't know, and
I think it might be astronomical of some sort, or astrological, maybe.
Yeah.
Something to do with Saturn and why these people are getting murdered. Because what it is they found a bunch of bodies out in the woods from all different years, and it's been happening over like 50 years, people being murdered. And they're not even all killed the same way, and they weren't even killed in the same spot. It seems like they're just dumped there. So they're not sure if it's a cult, they're not sure if it's, I think somebody says it's a demon, but then they say it doesn't seem like a demon. And then even Hellboy's like, is it a werewolf that was like a little kid, and then now he's a geriatric? Like, they have no idea what's going on and who's murdering these people. And I think it's going to end up being just some serial killer. I also like that serial killer wasn't in the vernacular much, so the one guy's like, serial killer? He's killing cereals? Like,
yeah.
They had to explain to him what a serial killer was.
But as an avid Hellboy fan, what'd you think of this?
I was confused. I was just like, am I supposed to know? But then by the end, I'm like, oh, I'm not supposed to know. Maybe some of the side characters have probably been in other things, and I probably should know who they are, but I always forget the side characters. My memory's terrible, so. But as just Hellboy kind of tired, and he just came off another mission, so he just wants to go have a nap the whole time. It's kind of fun. And I like the mystery. I like the murder mystery of it all, which is, hopefully that's kind of keeps up. That it's more of a mystery, not just... Hellboy tends to just fall into monster, and he punches him a lot. So hopefully it gets more of a mystery into it, and that'd be fun.
Yeah. And I'm surprised it's only 3 issues.
Yeah, all these miniseries are almost always 3 issues for some reason. It must be Dark Horse decided that they could put 2 miniseries in a trade or what. Although, I don't know, a lot of these haven't gone to trade, or not that I know of. I think they collect them into like mini trades, kind of, but not actual full trades. I hope to get, hopefully do more library editions, because that's the only way I collect them, so I'd love to get all these short ones into a library edition.
But yeah, I thought it was okay. It's just I have no idea what's going on. I'll probably finish it, because it's only 3 issues. That other Hellboy in the BPRD one was like 5 or 6,
and it was a continuing story almost. Yeah,
and it was coming off of like other stuff.
I think all the ones that have the years in the name are kind of that's one overarching story.
Yeah,
it's usually like Hellboy 1950 something, So I think those mostly were all one big story. Where this, seems unconnected so far. Who knows? Maybe it'll turn out to be Frogmen or something, but it doesn't seem like it. Yep, that's Hellboy. It's I don't think, did Mignola even write it? I don't know if he did. He may have written it. He definitely didn't draw it.
But it's story by Mike Mignola and Scott Alley, and then art by Christopher Mitten.
Yeah, the art was definitely not Mignola. It was I was slightly disappointed in the art. It wasn't great.
Yeah,
it was okay. But it wasn't... You're so used to seeing Hellboy in Mignola or someone aping Mignola style that it's... I think it's a lot better usually. This one, it was fine, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for what it is, I guess. The book and the art was, it got the job done, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Hellboy for you.
Yeah. I don't know, I can't... there's a lot of, like, Hellboy stuff to read, I guess. So it's like... like with the Hellboy and the BPRD stuff, it was like, I had no idea what's going on. So it kind of turned me off from reading Hellboy. But then I saw this, there was no year. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, sometimes you need to... It's hard to jump into, but this one seems like it'd be easier to jump in. If you're just interested in a Hellboy story, I think this one, maybe, we'll see, but you could just start tying into other stuff and you're like, oh, okay, I should have read this then. But hopefully not. It is a wide, like, history, and even I can't keep it all straight in my head. I'm like, oh, what year is this? When's this happening? What's going on? Because it's all over the place in the stories. It's not chronological the way it's told, so you can get things happening way out of order, and best of times I don't remember when anything happened, so.
By the way, people listening, if you hear something, that is the rain. It just started pouring outside.
Oh, nice.
Which is so fun.
So if all of a sudden you stop talking, I'll know that the power went out?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll continue on without you, don't worry.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, so yeah, that's Hellboy. Something else that came out this week that was very interesting. Batman 77. Now, you're probably thinking, Rob, and people watching, wait, you got an issue of Batman? I thought you dropped it. I did. But something happened in this issue.
I've heard this. Spoilers.
Was very big. And yes, spoiler alert, for Batman issue number 77. So if you haven't read it and want to, then stop listening, I guess. But apparently they kill Alfred.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is true. I can't see them just murdering Alfred. Didn't they already cut his hand off recently, and then it just, after a while, they're like, his hand's back.
I don't know. I didn't even read the book. I just bought it because Alfred dies in it. I didn't really.
Well, it's also like, I've seen the pages. It's pretty traumatic. They force Damian to Batman's father from another dimension forces Damian to see it happen, to try to, I don't know, turn Damian onto his side or something. It's some weird. It was like traumatic, making this child see this person murdered. So.
Yeah.
And well, that's Scott. What's his name?
Tom King.
Oh, Tom King. Sorry, I was thinking it was what's the other guy?
Scott Snyder.
Yeah. Tom King. Yeah, he's a crazy man. But it seems like a stunt to me. It seems very stunty.
I really like. It's hard to like actually kill a big character like that. You know what I mean? They could. It just then nothing would be the same. And I wonder if this is like Tom King being like, "All right, I'm off the book in a couple issues. Let me do something big."
And next person has to retcon it somehow.
Yeah.
It's like every time they kill Aunt May. It's like, don't bother. We know she's just gonna be back. Like. It's the same with Alfred. Alfred's just the Aunt May of the of Batman's world. You can kill him, but no matter what, he's gonna come back.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting if they just finally, this is it, but they don't have. I don't think they have the guts to follow through with it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just waiting for issue 85 or 86 when Tom King is off the book, so that I can start reading Batman again. Unless it's Bendis writing it.
Yeah. You don't know who's... They haven't announced who's taken over?
As far as I know, as of this recording, they have not announced who took... Can you hear that rain?
That's pretty heavy rain.
Yeah, can you hear that? Is it bad?
It's quite loud.
Jesus. I'm very upset.
Yeah, it's all good. So we'll see who takes over. I don't know. Unless they get another big name, like Warren Ellis or someone's going to take over. I don't know.
I'm hoping it's not Bendis.
I could see Bendis.
Very disappointed. I'd be very disappointed because Superman is garbage.
I was going to say, he ruined Superman. He might as well go ruin Batman. They paid enough for him. I could see that for sure. But it might be better compared to Tom King stuff. Even Bendis could be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's always a waiting game. Yeah. It just sucks when someone is on the book for a long time and you don't like him. It just... Like, he's been on that book for years, so...
Yeah. But, yeah, that's Batman. I mean, that's probably the last Tom King issue that I will be getting. But, next, I would like to talk about Powers of X number 3. Spoilers for Powers of X number 3. If you
Powers of 10. Say it right.
Powers of 10, my bad.
No,
Powers
it's
of 10
bad.
Number 3. Just, if you haven't, read this. Geez, the rain. I apologize for the rain, everybody listening, but if you haven't read Powers of 10, just please go read it, or don't, if you don't care. then keep on listening. But I will tell you exactly what happened as I was reading it. I was reading it, I was like, okay. I mean, I guess, all right, uh-huh. And then the last page, I was like, okay, all right, what?
Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, I read all this for nothing. I never cared about any of these characters, so it didn't really matter when they died, and then it just reboot, yeah.
We got to the timeline thing. I was like, okay.
I remember reading the timeline before, and it never said she died in that line. I'm like, that's weird. And it was kind of like, oh, I wonder if they're ever going to do anything that. I didn't realize they were going to cover it in Powers of 10.
But the question I have is what is the point of this series then if Moira just dies and then reincarnates back to...
Yeah, it gave her information about beating Nimrod, how to stop Nimrod in the current line. Yeah, and is that going to happen for the... So the other... That was the one... What was it? The 100 years in the future? Was that one? I think that was
year 123.
Yeah, so that one's that one. So we have that one that's far in the future. That's still going, and we still have... So I wonder if every time is going to get more information for Moira. Because it's only issue 3 of 6, so we're halfway through the series, and it kind of ended that whole storyline. Everyone died. And it finally made sense, that storyline. At least I was like, okay, here's all the people in it, and here's who they are. And then they finally revealed who they are, and I was like, oh, okay, that might be interesting. And then they just murdered them all, and I was like, oh. Yeah. I guess I shouldn't even bother knowing who those people were then.
It's just, I don't know. It's just... it doesn't make sense, but I feel like it will kind of, hopefully, toward the end. What I hope is that by the end of this, we have all of the questions answered. I hope it's not like, to be continued in X-Men #1.
I don't think so. I think it's wrapping it all up, tying up all the loose ends, and it's kind of closing this whole loop to make it so that X-Men can have a fresh start with X-Men #1. I think that's what this is all about. It's trying to, it's Moira, Magneto, and Professor X fixing the timeline. For good or bad. They're just clearing up all the loose ends, so they're just like, okay, we don't have to worry about Nimrod. We know the future Nimrod's going to come. Well, this is how we stop Nimrod. It's done. You don't have to worry about that anymore. And then it's, okay, this is how this happens. Okay, this is how we're going to stop this. Then, I think it's just going to keep continuing to do that. I'm just still confused about the whole Utopia, like, Krakoa kind of world with all the bases and the portals and stuff like that, like from the regular book. So we'll see how that gets wrapped up, because obviously that can't be around by the time, because that's just way too powerful, all that stuff.
Yeah. Now the even farther future that they've been like showing and stuff like that, year like 1000 and stuff like that. Is that a part of this life, or is that something separate?
Yeah, see, I think that's what we'll find out. I think that will be something separate. We thought it was all connected, but it's actually just different timelines that they're gonna find other information. Like all of a sudden, somebody from there is gonna travel back in time or something. Like I think that's the whole point. We never know what timeline we're in currently. Even the House of X book, we don't know that's the Marvel normal timeline. That could be a different one. So
yeah.
And maybe at the very end of that, she travels back to the real timeline and knows exactly how to fix everything. She just fixes it all, wraps it all up, and it's over. So all this might be like just a learning experience for her,
Yeah.
So I can see that's how they could... Because right now in the regular book, I'm like, how is this existing in the regular Marvel universe? It can't be. So that would make sense why that isn't existing in the regular universe. That's in its own timeline, and then it'll all go back to the regular one and fix everything, and maybe mess it up a little bit so that there is some interesting storytelling going on. And it also explains how all these people will be back alive, because Moira could fix it so everybody kind of survives their various deaths, as she retcons. She is the human retcon. That's what she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really well written. I just don't... especially that Powers of 10 one. I'm not interested in that book at all. Like, once again, if it had been part of all one series, I could just be like, oh, this issue is about the future. Okay, it fits in, makes sense. But to be a whole separate series, I don't like it.
Now, I have a question. I don't know if this is, can be answered. When Moira dies, what happens to that universe?
Yeah, I assume the universe still goes on as in part of the multiverse, just like anything. Just like, well, like 2099 exists in the multiverse, even though it's not the future of the current Marvel universe kind of thing. And same with like Mutant X, or like all these other ones. They all exist. They're just not the real future, you know. So it's all separate timelines. It's kind of what they were talking about in Endgame, or actually Infinity War, but it just realized in this where there is multiple timelines, and every decision creates a new timeline. So it's unlike DC where they have a strict number of timelines. Marvel just has unlimited. They could just, I think they have. I've seen a list of all the numbers of the different timelines they have, and it's a ridiculous number of them because they don't care about trying to keep it structured like DC does. DC has like the 52, right? That's it. Although I think recently that's changed too. So
yeah, that's flexible.
Yeah, but I see it as an alternate X-Men story so far. It doesn't really fit into the real X-Men, but maybe by the end, like you say, it'll all fix itself and make sense.
Now, in your opinion, what did you think of this issue specifically?
I just thought it was, by the end of it, I was like, oh, that was a bit of waste of time. This whole 3 issues, not even just this issue, but all 3 of those issues that were dealing with this timeline. I was just like, okay, she learned how to stop Nimrod. You could probably told that in 1 page. You didn't need 3 issues.
Yeah.
You could have said she even in like just an infographic, you could have told what happened in this. Because all these new characters you introduced, they're all dead, so who cares? Like, if any of them had survived, I'd be like, oh, at least we have some character that might be coming back. But literally, they all... Well, I guess we didn't see Rasputin or... what's the Nightcrawler guy? I didn't think we saw either of those guys die, but everybody else died. So, yeah. So unless
are they going to give us, like, is the next issue going to be a continuation of this universe?
I don't think so. I don't think we'll be going back to this universe. They'll just deal with, what is it, plus 10, plus 1,000, like, it'll be the other ones. They'll probably start wrapping up the other ones, too. Because it is only 6 issues, so I can, like, this is issue 3 already. We're already halfway through this event, so.
Yeah. They're
going to have to start making sense soon.
Yeah. It's very confusing. And
once again, we're reading it as it happens. I bet if we read this in a trade paperback where we could just keep reading all the way through in a day, it's going to be great. I think the way we're consuming it is wrong. I think it was never meant to be consumed month to month or week to week as it is. It's one of those things where it's got a lot of talking points, but I think the story is going to make a lot more sense reading it all at once.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's how you like to read comics. Some people like the mystery and not knowing what's happening. I kind of like to know what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, like, Hellboy's a mystery, but it's 3 issues.
And it's also supposed to be a mystery. That's an actual mystery, so. Where this, it's supposed to, that's Hickman. Hickman tends to have a lot of, like, weird threads that all of a sudden, okay, that starts tying up here, but you have to stay with it for it to make sense. Even I love East to West, but that one, reading issue to issue, makes no sense. Like, you have to get the overall arc to really, really get what's going on, because otherwise you're like, okay, nothing happened in this issue, but it was just enough that it put things in places that you're like, in 5 issues from now, you're like, oh, that's because of this. He's that kind of writer, so either you like that or you don't, and I do like it. It's frustrating when it's the X-Men. If these were just any other characters, I'd probably be more on board. But it's my X-Men, like it's. I'm so afeared that he's just gonna kill them all, even though I know they're not, since those other issues have been announced. But
yeah,
so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but so far so okay. I do like that Fabian's all about it though. It's good to see someone who's just come back to comics and he's in love with it. So I like that. And hopefully that's working for a lot of people. We're just jaded.
I want to get him on the show and talk about it with him.
Yeah, by the end, for the last issue, we should have him on for sure.
Yeah, talk to him about it because if you guys don't know, our boy Fabian He doesn't really read comic books. He used to, and then he kind of just dropped out of it. But he said that this House and Powers of X or 10 got him back into it, and he was really enjoying it. So I want to have him on. We got to talk to him about it, and then discuss it with him and see what he thinks about all this stuff. But as far as I know, he's really enjoying it. But who knows? By the end, it could suck.
Yeah. Or we might love it, and he'll be like, "Oh, I don't like it anymore."
Yeah, right. But,
to go back to Garth Ennis, though, it just said Garth Ennis returns to Marvel for 2 new Punisher series.
What?
Let's see what the other one is. Yeah,
is it in that article?
No, I found it somewhere else. I was looking around for more news, and I happened to come across this.
Ooh, what's the other?
Let's see, Soviet, and another one called Get Fury.
Do they have pictures of
No, just Get Fury is just next year, it says. So there you go.
All right, well. So that's 4 Punisher books that are...
There you go.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm down for that. But
did we talk about Doc Justice and the J Team? I don't think we did on the podcast.
That doesn't really.
I just want to just put it out there how stupid that name is. I just want everybody, like we've discussed it, but I want everybody to know how stupid that name is.
Yeah, that's Runaways. I think is that like becoming a super team now.
Doc Justice and the J Team.
Yeah, it's not a. It wasn't there a thing? It's like there was the Invaders, the Defenders, the Avengers. Now there's Doc Justice and the whatever.
J Team. Yeah, maybe it's supposed to be a joke then.
I hope it's supposed to be a joke, and then next month we'll see. Oh, there's gonna be a Doc Justice in the J Team book.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm just flipping all over the place because I was reading news, but. You also read... Did you read Death's Head this week?
I did not.
Oh, okay. We won't talk about it then. We'll talk about it next week, maybe.
All right.
Because it's nuts.
What did you think of it? Just tell me what you thought of it.
I think it's nuts. It's literally insane.
Well, I think that's what Death's Head was supposed to be like.
Yeah, but this is like what the hell?
What else? That's what I'm saying. It's like... It's so funny. It's like... Every miniseries has been 5 or 6 issues that Marvel's put out. This one's 4 because what the hell could you do with Death's Head?
Well, they've expanded it out now. We've got... Well, at the last issue you saw that there was the Death's Head, the one with the punky hair in the bed.
Yeah.
Where there's more of him. That's all I'm saying.
New model.
Yeah. Where they call it the upgrade. They keep talking about upgrades, so...
Yeah.
So, but you get that to look forward to. Chaos.
Okay. I can't wait. But what I did read this week is Ghost Spider #1.
Is this where the rant's gonna come in?
God damn it! I'm so mad. It's so bad. I'm so pissed off. Oh my god. Holy god, oh my. Can I tell you something? If you guys Rob hasn't seen the video of that'll be this week's review. I get really mad in it, and I explain why I didn't really like it that much.
I can't tell.
Here's the thing, okay? This is the one thing that I have a problem with Ghost Spider, okay, or Spider-Gwen. I love her to death. She's my favorite character, but. You can't brand this as a #1. You can't do it because if you're branding this as a #1, if you picked it up knowing nothing about Spider-Gwen,
I'd have no idea.
You'd be completely lost.
Yeah,
it got me so mad because it's like the only thing that's different is that you changed the name. That's the only thing. And this should be in issue 11.
And did you say it's even the same team?
It's the same team. Yeah. It's the same writer and artist.
That's crazy.
So it's just, oh my god. And it's just, ever since Shauna Maguire got onto the book, it's just been disappointing. And, oh god, I don't even know where to start. Basically, it looks like we're getting a Clone Saga.
Why don't they learn? We've discussed this before. I don't know if it's ever on a podcast, but they've never learned that just forget about the Clone Saga. You can't make it good. It's done. It was bad. Stop trying to redeem it. Stop trying to do it again. We don't need it. It's not interesting. I don't know. Maybe these people grew up with a Clone Saga and were like, oh, it is good. I remember this as a kid. I loved it. It's like people who like the prequels now for Star Wars.
Yeah. But in the book at the end, so what happens is she enrolls into Empire State University on Earth 616 so that she can be Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider and have her secret identity, because on her Earth she's known as Gwen Stacy. That was a whole thing. And she's on Earth 616. She also wants to go to school and be a normal kid, and go to college. So, and there's an interesting thing where it's like, oh yeah, you're from another dimension. Oh yeah, you get a scholarship. It's like aliens and alternate dimension people. They get scholarships. Tony Stark has like a thing with that, which is interesting. I did like that. But so in this at the end, Gwen runs into Miles Warren, which doesn't make any sense. Why is he at Empire State University if he's known to be the Jackal? And then
they also have scholarships for supervillains.
Oh, well, yeah. And then we cut to Earth 65, Gwen's Earth, home of another Miles Warren, and he says, this is the direct quote from the book, "I'll have you. You may have stopped the man-wolf, but I'll stop you. And when you belong to the Jackal, things will be different around here." And then the narration is, can one spider stand against a pack of jackals?
And so do you think it's clone jackals, or it's just jackals from other dimensions?
I don't know, but I'm very scared. And also, I mentioned this in the review, that we've had this whole thing for the last 10 issues on why the symbiote is, because Gwen's suit is a symbiote, and how it's like, and listen, they don't overdo it with the symbiote, by the way.
The moment I hear the word symbiote, I just cringe, so.
They don't overdo it with the symbiote, right? But I was hoping, okay, we've been dealing with this for 10 issues on how, she's getting headaches and the symbiote's acting up and stuff. And I was like, okay, might be interesting, that we might get some kind of, Venom, but Gwenified, like a Gwen Venom. But actually Venom, not attached to Gwen anymore. But the reason why it's acting up is because Gwen isn't eating enough. And I'm like, okay, that kind of could make sense, because she has to eat more food to not only feed herself but also the symbiote.
Isn't that from the movie? Doesn't he have to eat a lot of food in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is the best place to take, to get what's it called? Ideas from is from that movie.
I thought you sound very cynical.
But it's like, and then we do cut back to Earth 65 with it's so funny though. We get a whole thing with her dad on Earth 65. It's literally 3 pages, and that's the end of that. And it's it ends Captain Stacy's story arc. It just really was not good, and I'm so disappointed, And I don't want to deal with the Jackal, I don't need this. But and also he's holding up a jar that has, I would assume, one of the spiders from this, or a piece of the symbiote that is like a spider, that's shaped like a spider, I guess. I hope that it's he's the reason why the symbiote is messing up, and not this crappy, just random reason of why the symbiote's acting up, But yes, very disappointing. Very disappointing. And I was right. Or it seems like we'll be getting a Gwen clone saga.
Maybe they're just trying to trick you.
I hope so.
So you hate it so much that when it doesn't happen, that you'll love it. You'll be like, oh, thank God.
But it just pisses me off. It's like, there's no reason for it to be a number one. You know? Like, and like, reading it makes it, like, even worse that it's a number one. Because you really cannot read this as a number one. If it's a number one, you could pick it up. Like, okay, here's an example. Punisher number one of the current series that's going on right now, they basically just explained it like, oh yeah, Punisher worked with Hydra during Secret Empire, but he didn't realize it was Hydra and he thought it was S.H.I.E.L.D. And now he's going after Hydra. That's it. But there's too much stuff going that has happened with Spider-Gwen that you can't pick it up as a number one and read it just to get into Spider-Gwen.
And that's also, my Punisher's been going for how many years? So you kind of, once in a while, you do need a jumping on point, so you throw a number one. Spider-Gwen, what, total, how many issues has it been? Like 50, maybe?
This new issue, the legacy number is 51.
There you go. So it's like, there isn't that much history that you need to reboot it every 10 issues.
Yeah.
Like, I understand when it's a long-running book, you kind of have to start over so that new readers feel like they can jump on, even though I jumped on in X-Men in, like, 270-something, and it didn't affect me any. I think it probably was even better, because then you want to learn more. You don't need a jumping-on point, but
yeah,
this is the opposite. They're not even making a jumping-on point, but they just put a number one on the issue, so they sold more, theoretically. I wonder how it sold. I wonder what the numbers are.
Yeah.
I assume it sells, but it sold well no matter what. It was this well-selling comic.
Here's the interesting thing. At All-Star Comics and Collectibles in Lindenhurst, New York, we do live sales and on books and like pre-sales and stuff like that. Not a lot of people got Ghost Spider.
Oh yeah.
Not a lot of people got it. I'd say probably one, maybe two people got it.
Wow.
And I was like really surprised that it's a number one. You know what I mean?
Maybe it's maybe it's they don't understand it's Spider-Gwen because they changed the name. Or B, it's just people are like you and they're like, screw you, Marvel, I refuse to play your game.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I have to get the next issue and all the issues because,
But you're actually reading it, so just pretend it's issue 51, not number one.
Yeah, it's just, it's just there's no point in doing. I would understand if maybe 4 or 5 months passed and then we get a new number one. But no, literally last month, issue 10 came out.
No, it's, yeah. I don't get it. I understand why they do it, but they should do it like I always say, like Dark Horse, where it's number one of a 3-issue series. Sure, it's part of the overarching series, but this is a new story arc, so every story arc gets a new number one. I'm fine with that, but just to have just in the middle of just randomness to throw in a number one, it's like, well,
yeah.
It's just call it Spider, or what is it called? Spider? No, it's called Ghost Spider.
Yeah, the new series.
Yeah, call it Ghost Spider, call it the college years number 1 of 6 or whatever. So that's that arc,
Yeah.
At least don't just have it randomly reboot after 10 issues.
Yeah.
Every time. We should have a countdown. We should see how long this set of Ghost Spider Spider-Gwen goes for. If it makes it past a year, we'll have to give it an award of some sort.
Speaking of that stuff of it going for a year, something funny, right? Listen to this. I believe next month we're getting Ghost Spider Annual.
After 1 issue?
Yeah. But the funny thing is, okay, the second issue of Ghost Spider comes out next month. Technically, that's issue 12. Mm-hmm. So then it makes sense.
Yeah.
Then if you think of it that way, it's like, okay, now it makes sense for an annual. But for 2 issues of Ghost Spider, a new series?
Well, I guarantee it's not the writers and the artists. I'm sure they're as annoyed as you are. I'm sure they wanted it to be issue 11 and 12.
Yeah. It's the Acts of Evil one-shot things. Where... So Ghost Spider is actually fighting Arcade. Which, all right, interesting, but...
Everybody's got to fight Arcade at least once in their life. It's like a passing.
Actually, this week, Deadpool's fighting Nightmare.
Oh, yeah?
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's a weird mix-up.
Or they're doing like they did Miss Marvel versus Super Skrull.
It reminds me of Acts of Vengeance back.
Well,
in the
that's
day,
what
right?
that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's what I think it is.
Is it like a anniversary or something of it? Probably, right? 25 anniversary or something.
No idea, but it's called the Acts of Evil.
Yeah, instead of Acts of Vengeance.
Yeah, and then there was Venom versus Lady Hellbender, which I've never heard of. I don't know who the hell that is. She-Hulk versus Bullseye.
Well, that's She-Hulk just popped Bullseye's head off like a great.
Yeah. Wolverine is actually fighting Morgan Le Fay.
89 was Acts of Vengeance. So how many years is that from 9? That's
like 30 years.
30 years, yeah. So it's the 30th anniversary of Acts of Vengeance. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, and Punisher fought the Brood Queen.
Oh, that's another strange combination.
Yeah, it was really dumb.
Well, the thing about Acts of Vengeance was that all the villains got together and were like, well, we're not succeeding against our own villains, so let's switch it up. So, like, all of a sudden Magneto's fighting the Avengers, and I forget who fought the X-Men. I can't remember. It's been so long.
This is just like, random villains.
See, at least there was a story behind it. The villains got together and like, let's do this,
Yeah, but doing that, I think nowadays that would be kind of annoying where like the annuals span our whole storyline. Like that was like Atlantis Attacks and the Evolutionary War, It's like, there's a whole story that is happening throughout all the annuals. I think that would be a little annoying. I like this kind of better that they're just one-shots.
I like the idea of having to grab an annual of some comic you never read. It's not like I hate crossovers when they're in the regular book, but at least an annual, it's whatever. It's just an annual. It's a one-shot, so. But
some of them don't even make sense, like She-Hulk. No. There is no book for She-Hulk going on.
Yeah, that's odd.
Or Wolverine. There isn't an ongoing book for Wolverine right now. There isn't even a book besides Dead Man Logan for Wolverine that's going on right now.
That's right. It's just Dead Man Logan, yeah.
Like some of the, I could understand some of them, you know what I mean? Oh, Moon Knight is also getting one too, which doesn't make any sense because his series ended.
Yeah, it sounds like they're just doing one-shots and they're calling them annuals. It's kind of reducing the meaning of the word annual. The whole point was there's always an extra week in the year that the comic books. So after you do 12 issues, you always have that one extra week. So in that extra week they do an annual, so it would stay on schedule. So it would be the 12 issues of a regular series every year. And somewhere along the line they gave up on that idea. They just do they barely make it out monthly, or every comic's coming out twice a month. So they've given up on the whole idea of trying to keep on a schedule, but for some reason they just, especially Marvel, DC doesn't really do annuals anymore, do they?
They do, but like it's very weird.
Yeah, it's the same thing where they just randomly put them out.
Yeah, like I'm surprised when the annuals come out. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But like I hate what I want it to be like. Remember when annuals were just one-shots?
Yeah, it was like it was a couple stories usually, and then a lot of background information, so you get like the cutaway of the X-Men's mansion, or some, you'd have a wacky story and a more serious story, and it was always fun. The annuals were great back in the day, but now it's just a story that they're like, hey, we just have this extra story, let's just throw it in an annual.
Well, it's not even that. It's a part of the ongoing series.
Yeah, that's even worse. I hate when that happens.
Where
it's like you have to... X-Men did that a lot in the last run, where it's just... When X-Men Blue and those came out, you had to read the annual, otherwise you'd missed a part of the story. It's like, well, annuals are supposed to be optional, not part of the story.
Yeah.
Or give us, like... Be part of the story, but give it more of a background, like, side kind of story to it, where you don't have to read it,
Mm.
Yeah, I've always said it. Editorial, especially at Marvel, is horrible. There's a lot of great artists, a lot of great writers, but the editorial side of Marvel is just the worst. They have terrible ideas, and they can't keep anyone organized. They've screwed up so much stuff, and I can't help but blame the editorial. What else is it? Like, or it's this, they let the writers and artists run wild, which is editorial's fault too. So each like book has an editor. What do these editors do?
Oh, by the way, Moon Knight is fighting Kang.
It's like a lot of these, I'm like, how... It's different classes of people. Kang should just destroy Moon Knight. It shouldn't even be a question.
Yeah.
Kang takes on all of the Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't talk of the quality of the comics, but I can talk of the what's the point of them. It's just like another way to put up a $6 book instead of a $5 book, you know?
Yeah.
Are they at least longer than normal books? Or are they still?
Oh yeah, they're longer. They're longer and they're $5. So
yeah, at least they're longer. I hate when they're just like regular length too, and you're like, oh, it just says annual on it. It's just really just a one shot.
Yeah, I mean, going back to DC, like they've done annuals. Like, okay, Wonder Woman, for example, is very weird because they did an annual at one point, which I picked up, and because it was supposed to be like the first time Superman, Batman met Wonder Woman. So I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's pretty interesting. But it was like 4 pages, and then there were like a bunch of stories. I'm like, oh my god, why did they do that? And then, but that was around like issue maybe 15, so I could kind of get it. But then around issue 48 and 49, that's when the second annual came out.
Yeah, like a long time later.
Like 2 years later.
Yeah. The idea of the word annual means every year.
Yeah.
It's like they forgot what it meant.
But then the second annual was, the first annual you could just read, it's just a bunch of random stories, so you can kind of just go into it.
Which I'm fine. I don't, it doesn't matter how bad the stories are, at least I'm fine with that idea, at least.
Yeah. The second annual was the Star Sapphires grabbed Wonder Woman, was like, we need your help. But that was, and then they brought her to the Star Sapphire planet. But that was because the Dark Gods were taking over from the regular series.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was an interesting concept, but you could kind of read it as like a one-shot, but it still didn't work because you didn't know what the Dark Gods were, and that was explained in the Wonder Woman book.
Yeah.
Red Hood had the same thing, but it was better at first, and then it kind of dulled down. They had the first annual was like a one shot where because it was Red Hood and the Outlaws, so it was Red Hood, Artemis, and Bizarro, and they teamed up with Nightwing to fight KG Beast because KG Beast was like doing something. That was the first annual. That was a one shot. You didn't have to know anything. The second annual took place right after issue 25, and that was Red Hood went to Arsenal and was like, yeah, things are crazy, man, and then they dealt with something, and then it led into issue 26. Then we just got the third annual, so it was about a year later, which I'm happy that they've been doing it kind of yearly, or as close to the year as they can,
Yeah.
Unlike Wonder Woman, it was 2 years and then another annual, but then the third annual was it was kind of a one shot where we just got the story of what happened to Bizarro and Artemis because they disappeared back in issue 25. So then Red Hood went on his own, and that's what we've been following since. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. So then that's gonna lead into the regular book, So I like the Acts of Evil thing where it's just a bunch of one shots, I got the Miss Marvel one because I'm reading Miss Marvel. I got the Punisher one because I'm reading Punisher, and I got the Deadpool one because I was reading Deadpool, but then that series is over. and then I have to get the Ghost Spider one, obviously, because I'm reading that. But I really have no interest in any of the other ones. It's like Venom versus Lady Hellbender. I don't even know who the hell that is.
Yeah, I've never heard of that person either.
And then Moon Knight, the book is over, and Wolverine doesn't even have a book, and She-Hulk doesn't even have a book. So why give them annuals? Don't call them annuals, then just have them as just one-shots.
Or have an event. If they have an event called Acts of Evil, and just have all these one-shots under that event title, that's fine. Even then, that's not fine, but at least if you choose to read it, that's your choice. Don't make it as an annual, so you think it's important to the series, so you have to keep reading it.
Yeah.
Although most of them don't have a series, like you said, so I guess it's only if you like the character.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know.
It's just, I just don't call them annuals. That's why main issues. They're not annuals. If they come out every year, then you call them an annual, but they don't.
And it's weird because in the new She-Hulk, the Avengers book going on right now, She-Hulk is kind of becoming more feral and like losing control a little bit more. But on the cover of She-Hulk Annual, she looks fine.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's not even in continuity either.
Yeah, but it's like when the hell does this take place?
Well, that's why I'm reading the Wolverine things in Marvel Comics Presents, and I'm like, this doesn't take place in the Marvel Universe. This is just so crazy.
Did the newest Marvel Comics Presents issue came out this week, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah. Did you read that or no?
Yeah, just the Wolverine story.
Oh. But, how was that?
Wolverine goes to hell. You know how it is.
That was so... Marvel Comics Presents is so disappointing.
Yeah, because I loved the original series, and this has been so disappointing.
Yeah.
And even this Wolverine it started off really interesting, and I was like, okay, until it got to that one issue. I think it was issue 6 or something. And I was just like, nope, this is dumb.
What killed it for me, it was like, okay, no, this is in the 80s. Oh, why are the X-Men here? Okay, so this isn't now.
Yeah, where they're just were like...
This is just whatever.
Well, they're going through the actual ages instead of... Well, have you read about, what was it, Marvel History of Marvel Universe or whatever that just came out? Where they retconned the Korean and Vietnam War to be one giant war so that it fits in Marvel continuity. Have you heard about this?
They did that?
Yeah, so now Punisher and Nick Fury and all these people fought in this one war, this made-up war, instead of in some made-up country instead of being part of Vietnam or part of World War II or part of Korean War. So they, that's what they did, and it's like, really, you really didn't have to do that. That's just so stupid. It doesn't matter if it doesn't fit in continuity. Like it's a fluid continuity. It doesn't matter. Like, next thing you're gonna say? The Magneto wasn't in World War II. He wasn't in a concentration camp. Well, that changes that character majorly. If he's in some fake war. That is a big difference. So you're gonna start doing that kind of stuff?
Well, I mean, it's hard to do that when, we get to the point where we're in the year 2045, and it was like, oh, World War II was 100 years ago. But so Magneto, would have to be not even a tot. He would be 100 years old.
But that's it. It doesn't matter. It's the Marvel continuity doesn't make sense at the best of times. So don't try to make it to make sense.
Yeah.
That's my issue. It's just like, it's not going to make sense. Don't try. It's over, people.
That's funny. I didn't know that they did that.
Yeah, it just came out this week, I guess. I just saw articles about it, and I was just like, it really irked me.
I got the first issue, and it was kind of interesting, but it was very boring.
Yeah. I just... Imagine all those, Vietnam vets who are like, oh, I really identify with Ellis, and all of a sudden they retcon it, so none of that matters anymore. It's like, well, that kind of really craps on their history,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Marvel, whoever did that, I think you really missed the point of the whole setting Marvel in the real universe. That was supposed to be the best thing about Marvel, is that this, it's not real, but at least it takes place in really New York and really this, these wars actually happened, but not anymore. No, Marvel decided to just retcon it all.
Marvel Comics Presents says it well. It's the world outside your window.
Yeah, but it's not anymore. It's some made up I forget what the name of the country too is. It seems slightly racist. I remember the name. I'm like, it's called like Sohin or something like that. I'm like, that sounds pretty. Just some American making up a name of some Asian country.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that was a big misstep. I don't know if it was a mandate from someone to be like, it can no longer be Vietnam and Korean War. Let's just make some random Asian war. But yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Oh man, it's interesting.
And they also have to tie everybody in. Like Mr. Fantastic is like a advisor and all this stuff, and like not all these people have to be in everything, you know. Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things that why mess with it? Don't even bother trying to explain it. It doesn't make sense, you know. Don't try to over-explain things. It's never going to make sense. The Marvel, just like Superman isn't, 80 years old or whatever. It's not. You don't have to make sense in our reality. It's a fictional reality.
I don't know.
So you got that going for us. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to talk about. Have you heard anything else this week?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
What is this? Hold on. Just, Rob.
We got a new update. We got some new information.
Hold on. If this is what I think it is, I'm going to be either very... Okay. All right. We're getting a new event called Annihilation Scourge. Okay? Or it's Annihilation, okay? We're getting Annihilation Scourge Alpha. All right? It's a one shot, but I'm assuming it's the beginning of the event, so we're going to get Alpha, Omega, and then like whatever
what they always do, yeah.
Yeah, in the middle. Okay? Oh... Yes! You have to read Absolute Carnage now.
No.
Yes, we're getting a Weapon Plus one or Weapon X, whatever the fuck it is.
I stopped reading that already. I don't need to read any more of those ones.
What are these I'm so confused. What are these one shots? I'm looking. There's all these one shots that are coming out, but I don't know when they're. I would assume November. But that's very weird. I didn't know that. I guess they're just, Okay. This is what I'm excited for, okay? This is the Marvel 2099 checklist. Okay? There's a bunch, I guess, okay, what are these? Alright. So, we're getting one-shots for 2099. This is, I guess, a one-shot crossover event, okay? So, Amazing Spider-Man 33 and 34. Okay. Okay. 2099 Alpha number 1.
Really?
It's a one-shot.
They have to even do that for that?
Hold on a second. Oh my god! Conan the Barbarian 2099! Are you kidding me? Holy crap! You've got to be kidding me! What is this? What is this? Hold on, I'll send you the link. This is hilarious. You have to scroll down a little bit more. I sent it in Skype. You have to scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, we don't need Conan in 2099.
Okay, Punisher 2099, but this looks like a new costume. It's different. Fantastic Four 2099, Deadpool 2099, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny because we already talked about all the X-Men stuff, and they've added more now. It's crazy. Yeah, actually, they have the Excalibur and Marauders now in here too.
Yeah.
They've updated the information.
So we're also getting a Spider-Man 2099, Ghost Rider 2099, Doom 2099, and Venom 2099, 2099 tie-ins, and 2099 Omega. So there's a bunch of 2099 stuff. I don't know if I'm excited or not. Are you kidding me?
Was Fantastic Four in the original 2099?
No, but you know who they gave? You know who they're giving a 5-issue miniseries? Yondu.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yondu was in Death's Head.
Oh God.
Yeah, they've added a lot more information into this list because this is the same one we looked at before, but now there's tons of more things in here. Yeah, well, there you go. We're getting a lot of more information here.
I'm just looking for new books here. Oh, there's a cover for Ghost Spider 4. Okay, she's fighting the Man-Wolf apparently.
Oh yeah, I see it. It's a cool cover.
It is cool. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. But, okay, Gwendolyn Maxine Stacy has it all. She's the drummer of a punk rock band attending college in the Marvel Universe and moonlights as a radioactive web-slinging superhero. But familiar faces from Earth-65 and the Marvel Universe alike have been stalking the Spider across campus, including Miles Warren the Jackal. Known for his dangerous obsession with Gwen, Miles won't stop until she's his, and his alone.
That seems disturbing.
And she's younger in this, too. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah. So it's got a little pedophilia going on?
I guess so. Well, she's in
college, I guess.
Well, she's in college, but I'm just saying she's, younger, Black Cat 2099. Oh, wait, that's a variant cover.
Black Cat.
Black Cat annual, but she's only 6 issues in.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, there's a mini-series called Spider-Man/Venom Double Trouble. It's a 4-issue mini-series. That looks horrible.
Oh,
by the way, people listening, if you guys can, I'll have the article to this linked in the description if you guys want to check it out and look at the stuff we're looking at too. Future Foundation. Dude, Future Foundation was horrible. That first issue.
They're doing grand design for Fantastic Four now, which I hated for the X-Men. It was just, hey, let's just change things for changing things' sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, Future Foundation. Invisible Woman getting her own series, or she already has. Yeah.
Well, yes, that's actually really good. I'm not gonna lie, that was actually really good.
Wow, she usually gets nothing. Web of Black Widow.
Yeah. I'm just looking for new books. Savage Avengers is getting an annual, which doesn't make sense. It's only going to be 6 issues in, I'm surprised that Invaders series is at issue 11.
Yeah, nobody who reads that. I saw this Captain Marvel thing where it's she's turning evil in the future or something.
Yeah.
She's got a new look to her. It's just because everybody hates her now, so they have to do that. What's with Captain America's shield? He's got like a light shield? That's stupid. Yeah, I'm just scrolling through it all. What's Swordmaster? What the hell's Swordmaster?
Yeah, I read the first issue. It wasn't bad, I have to say.
Very anime, eh?
Yeah, it's well, he's
is that the Korean ones? Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those characters that was in Agents of Atlas.
Might have to get the Uncanny X-Men 266 facsimile edition because I can't get the original anymore. That's one of the comics I sold when I was a kid, and that's impossible to get now. So I might have to pick up the facsimile edition just so I can add it to my collection.
Yeah.
Strike Force is still going.
It looks like toward the end, it's all
regular
graphic
comics
novels and stuff.
Gwenpool's still going too?
She just started with the new miniseries, but Gwenpool Strikes Back.
Ironheart's still going? That's very surprising to me.
That I gotta say though, Bendis created Ironheart, and the writer that's writing her now
is better.
Yeah,
that's good. Lots of Star Wars. Star Wars keeps going.
Star Wars is ending. That book is ending. Apparently.
Oh really?
Yeah. I can't believe they're doing this $20.99 thing. I mean, I'm kind of upset that it's like a whole...
There's a lot of issues for it.
Yeah.
And it must be an overarching story if there's an Alpha and Omega.
Yeah. Or I hope it's like Age of X-Man where it's just like... I hope you don't have
that had an Omega, Alpha and Omega for that though too. So I don't know if it had an Alpha, but it had an Omega.
I think it did have an Alpha.
But it Yeah, so, yeah, it did. It had that weird one. It was just kind of like previewing everything. But that's probably what this alpha is too. Just previewing all the series.
Yeah.
Conan 2099 though.
Oh man, that's funny. He looks ridiculous.
He looks like Thor.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
Who's the Crossbones looking Punisher? He doesn't look like the regular Punisher 2099.
Yeah. Either it's a new Punisher 2099 or a different.
Somebody taking up the mantle. He's got to fight.
I guess.
That's Nadler and Thompson writing that. They're really history buffs. I'm sure they read every single Punisher 2099 comic book, and they'll bring out some really weird stuff. They did that with Cable, and it was just like, oh my god, what are they pulling this from?
Yeah.
So
the I have some of those issues, and it's very, very weird, but I like it. That's why I like 2099. It's very weird.
Well, the good thing about that is it didn't matter because nothing really tied into anything. You could just enjoy it as itself. It didn't matter to anything.
I still can't believe like Yondu's getting a book.
Yeah, that's weird.
You know. I don't know. But this podcast has gone long enough, guys. Well, Rob, you got anything else to say? Anything else to mention?
No, we were wrapping up until you found all this new information.
I know. But anyway, guys, if you guys liked the video, want to give this video a like, or podcast, subscribe for more episodes of the SuperHeroCrew podcast. This was not really, we kind of talked news in the beginning, at the end, and then we kind of rambled in the middle and talked about a bunch of stuff this week. But if you guys look at the articles, I'll have them linked in the description so you can check them out. And also let us know what you thought about like Ghost Spider and Hellboy and the Powers of X and Batman, and let us know what you thought about that stuff. And yes, that's pretty much it, guys. We will see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.